This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm joined by Jamie Moore over Zoom. Jamie, how are you doing? How is life?
Not too bad, mate. Thank you.
Good stuff, good stuff. Obviously, some boxing for us to get our teeth into from last night. We saw Conor Benn with a brilliant first-round stoppage victory against Samuel Vargas. Your thoughts, Jamie?
Yeah, obviously, Conor's always got that that one-punch power to turn a fight around at any point. So even though I think we all expected it to be a good sort of educational fight for him and give him some good rounds and probably cause him a few problems along the way, but he'd probably go on points and it'd be one of those type of fights where he'd take loads from it in the long run. But he got him going early on, and he's got that instinctive finishing in his game, and it was over before it even got started. So really impressive, yeah.
Do you think we're finally starting to see people recognise Conor as his own fighter instead of considering him and looking at him as Nigel Benn's son? Or do you think that came, maybe a few fights ago or at a previous earlier stage in his career?
I think over the last sort of 12, 18 months, he started to come out into his own and get his own respect, really. I think, Ed Robinson's just tweeted something about how much he's improved over the last sort of 3 or 4 years, and the speed in which he's improved is the most impressive thing. I mean, it's rapid. You're talking somebody with barely any amateur experience at all, and those sort of fundamental stuff what you'll learn from the amateurs, looking after yourself, and then you develop them over time. He seems to have picked it up really quick and fast tracked it. So I'm a big fan. I've got to be honest. I was a big fan of his dad, but for the same reasons I was a fan of his dad, but not because I was a fan of his dad. I'm a big fan of Conor Benn now as well.
Do you see similarities, Jamie, between Conor and Nigel in terms of how they box?
Yeah, I think a couple of years ago, I remember doing an interview about him, and I said the same thing. Genetically, you can't really get away from that, and also sort of you're a product of your environment. So him growing up watching boxing, a lot of it will have been revolved around watching his dad. So it probably not even intentional. You can see the way he sort of moves his body is the same sort of thing. Similar to, I was talking about Campbell, and it works well for that particular style of fighter. And genetically, they're probably going to be very similar to that because that's the physical makeup. So it makes sense. And what you can't get away from the fact of is the genetic power. It's you can see it's just natural. There's no effort involved. It just flows, and it's such a exciting style to watch.
After the fight, Conor was very vocal about what he would like next. He called out somebody very well, Amir Khan. Your thoughts, Jamie? Would you be interested to see Conor in with somebody like Amir Khan or Kell?
Well, this has happened over the lifetime of boxing as it is. You get a quality fighter who has a great career and gets to the end of it, and he's not quite the fighter he was. And then you get the young up-and-coming fighter coming through, getting to the stage where they want to take that next step up, and it's a big name, it's a marquee fight, there's a lot of money involved. So it sort of works for both. So as I say, I'm a Conor Benn fan, so I want to see him involved in any sort of fight. But Amir Khan, don't sleep on Amir Khan. I don't think people give him the respect he deserves for the career he's had. Listen, he has had some bad losses in terms of he's been knocked out, but he's dared to be great and pushed himself and putting himself in them positions. He's a fantastic fighter with great achievements. So it's a great fight. It's a great fight for British boxing fans. A lot of people thought Vargas was a step too soon for Conor Benn. So, you can't really say that. I think before last night, everyone would have gone, nah, Amir Khan's a step too soon for Conor Benn, but it's an intriguing fight.
Moving forward onto the rest of the card, Jamie, Savannah Marshall, third round stoppage victory, routine victory for her, facing a last minute replacement opponent. But just your thoughts on it and what's next for her?
Yeah, I like Savannah. She's got a great style, very loose. Um, carries a hell of a punch. You can tell she's very heavy-handed, as evident last night because like I know the girl came in at short notice, but she'd never been stopped. So I'm hoping Savannah can get the sort of a marquee fight for herself now. I know it's early days in terms of becoming a world champion, but we're seeing with a Courtney and Briggs fight because women's boxing is sort of still in that progressive state. These types of fights are going to come along earlier than they would for the guys. So I think she deserves that sort of step up fight. There's been a lot of stuff on social media with Clarissa Shields. That's a great fight. I'd love to see that fight, and I think both girls want it. So it's pretty by the sound of it, it's a pretty easy fight to make.
Moving on once again, Kash Farouk once again impressing, but it was a brilliant fight, an entertaining all-action fight between him and Espinosa. What did you make of Kash's performance?
Again, I love his style. Everybody going through my timeline last night on social media, it was literally filled with Kash Farouk people saying, "Wow, I love watching Farouk. He's such a great fighter. Great to watch, I should say." And I agree. He's got a lovely fluid style. I love his bodywork on the inside. If there's one criticism I'd have of him is he's too game for his own good. You could see as the fight went on, towards the end, I think he was struggling because it had been such a physical fight, and he had a few moments where he had a rest and stuff. I think his decision making's got to be better. He should be doing that more often during the fight so that he can sort of ebb and flow and push on a little bit as the fight goes on because he works the body so well. His defense is actually very good, but he sort of stays there too long, if you understand what I mean. But then when you watch him and he decides to get his feet out, he's got the feet to do it. So my point is, he's got all the tools there, capable of going all the way. I honestly believe that. He's got to decide at what point to use which tool a little bit better. That's all.
It's an interesting point you're raised there because I've just spoken to Dave Caldwell, who says the one criticism of Kash Farouk is he can get hit too often because he does stay in the pocket a little too long. Is that kind of something along the lines of what you think yourself?
Well, if you watch it back last night, at some point you'll go, whoa, his head movement was fantastic then. And then he sort of stops and switches off. And that's what I'm saying. So maybe head movement and then get them feet out of there and get gone. So you've had that success where you've made your opponent miss, but then just don't sit there and hold on to it. But I'm sure that's something what his team are going to work on. And like I say, the good parts of him are very, very good. It's just those little, it's not even mistakes. It's just his decision making that he decides to stay there a little bit too long afterwards. But, overall, it was a great performance. And really, they're the types of fights where they make you a better fighter. You learn those lessons from it. I'm sure they'll be sat there today watching the fight back going, oh, that was good, that was good, that was good. Maybe I should have done this there. Okay, we'll work on that in the gym.
And then just moving forwards once again, Shannon Courtenay and Ebony Briggs. Shannon Courtenay, the new world champion there. Just your thoughts on what was, again, a very entertaining and a great fight?
Yeah, it was. I think Shannon deserved the win. I think the cards was a bit wide. They didn't really do Briggs any favours in terms of the effort she put in. And I think a couple of rounds probably where they've gone for Shannon, for me, could have gone the other way because it was sheer determination and work rate. I think up until about the 8th round, I probably had it even. And then I think Shannon deserved it. I think she pulled away in the last two and won it fairly. A little bit of criticism about the scorecards, but the right person won. But again, I don't want to talk about scorecards because every weekend it seems like we go, the judging was crap, but the right person won, which it shouldn't be. Shouldn't be the emphasis. The emphasis should be it was a cracking fight, and there was a lot of talk in the build-up and stuff, and it lived up to expectations. So happy days.
Final fight, I just want to get your thoughts on, because I can't remember if I asked you the other day, next weekend, Liam Williams, Demetrius, Andrade. How does it play out, Jamie?
Yeah, we spoke about this the other day, so I really don't know. It's such a good fight. Andrade, for me, is still relatively untested at that level. Liam Williams, he's lost to Liam Smith, who's obviously a world-class fighter, but different type of style. But he's improved a hell of a lot in that time since he moved to the Ingle gym. So that's why it's intriguing to me. It's has he improved that much, and is he good enough to beat Andrade? But not just that, is Andrade as good as we think he is, or once he's in there with a genuine world level fighter, as I believe Liam Williams is, then how will he hold up? So fantastic fight. I'm hoping, like I said to you the other day, I really can't decide who I think's going to win. I think I've got a feeling Williams is going to turn him over, but and I hope he does. But I'm really not sure.
I did say that was the final one, but one which just popped in my mind. The following week, a brilliant domestic clash between Felix Cash and Denzel Bentley. Your thoughts for the British title?
Oof. That's a good fight. That's a really good fight. I've got a feeling Bentley. Got a feeling Bentley's gonna pip it, but that's going to be a good fight. You know, style wise, it's going to blend really nice for a good fight. Just got a feeling Bentley will have a little bit too much at this stage.
All right, Jamie, we will leave that there now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I appreciate your time, mate. I hope Man United don't get trounced later on. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Speeds Boxing Social.
Ain't happening, mate. And don't forget, when City pipped us on that day, in 2012, the situation was exactly the same as it is now for us.
What, you was this many points behind, or they were this many points behind?
There was exactly the same points behind us with the same amount of games in hand as what we've got. So it ain't over till it's over, son.